So in this video we're going to teach you how to focus an oil lens. First of all, focus using the air lens. You'll be wanting to focus by eye, but in this video I'll be showing you on the screen because I can't focus on the eyepiece. So this button here is what sends a light between the eyepiece and the camera, and you need to pull it out if you want to view on the camera and push it in if you want to view by eye. Okay, so when you're focusing using fluorescence on either a high or low power lens, the first thing to do, rather than try to do everything by eye, is actually look at the objective lens and bring it up to a sensible height. So there's like a small distance between the top of the lens and where your sample is. You can see me adjusting the system here. Once you think that there's a reasonable distance between the objective lens and your sample, that's the point when you want to be going and having a look down with the eyepiece and actually start focusing it by eye. When you first start looking, you'll see quite a blurry image. On the microscope stand, you want to use a smaller wheel for fine focus. You can see I'm indicating here it's a bit dark. You just turn it by turning it away from you, so that is anti-clockwise. So once you get the objective lens in a reasonable position, you can start focusing down the eyepiece. Here I'm actually going to use focusing on the camera so you can see. So the initial image is blurry, but you can see distinct shapes. Then as you focus using the fine focus, the shapes start coming in. The image becomes sharp, as you can see, and you've got a nice black background. And then you can see quite a lot of detail on the white cells in the image as I indicate here. And then if you turn it around to the 20XL lens, you'll see that they're almost parfocal. So that means they're almost in the same position of focus, but you might want to adjust it slightly just to get even better detail on your image. So now we're going to move to focusing on an oil lens. So this is where I've got an issue with refraction, as discussed in my previous video. So you need to use immersion oil to help you be able to focus and get a really sharp image. First thing to do is drop the stage down so you don't end up with oil on the air lens. If you're not sure, there's a manual, but you can see where the load position is. Then you get your immersion oil and you apply it onto your slide, being careful not to get any on the air lens, although that shouldn't be the case. You can see I'm adding it here. Just a tiny little drop is enough, you don't need a lot. Then what you need to do is turn the objective round. I'm choosing the 63X oil here, you can see. And you also want to change the objective lens you're using in Micromanager as well. So then you need to raise the stage back up. You do that by pressing the return to working position button on the manual. This is like a cheat, a shortcut, because the objectives are more or less parfocal. So you get an image that's more or less in focus, and then you can use a fine focus, turning it very gently so the image comes straight back into focus. I've done this quite a lot of times, so I'll do it quite quickly, but you can just take your own time when you're doing it. And as you can see, you've got a nice image and sharp focus. Okay, so what if you don't have the choice to focus with a low power lens first? So here I'm focusing using a 100X lens. Some of our systems you might want to just start with 100X. Maybe sample's got a really rubbish fluorophore, or maybe your event's really rare and you're pretty convinced of where it is. So you can focus using totally internal reflection. The way you do this is by getting some oil on your sample and then using your eyes. You don't look down by the eyepiece to do this, you look by eye and you focus down. You can see it starts going dimmer and dimmer as the lens approaches the sample with the fluorescence on, and then all of a sudden you see a flash. This is when your objective lens has hit the oil, and so you've got a change in refractive index, and you can see there's total internal reflection occurring on your cover slip. So it suddenly lights up, and that makes it really easy to then focus. So you could see by eye, looking by the eyepieces, I'm doing it on a camera, but you can see it's almost in focus. And then it's very simple at this point to just use a fine focus to quickly and simply get your sample at 100X into focus. Okay, so in summary, I've taught you two methods to focus a microscope today, either by using parfocal lenses or total internal reflection. The common principle is you first focus by looking at the actual position of the lens relative to the sample by eye, not down the eyepiece to start off with. Once you're confident the lens is in a sensible place and it's not going to break the sample, you can then turn on the fluorescence and you can look down the eyepiece if using parfocal methods, and then you focus very gently. When you first start focusing eye by eye, once you've got lens in a reasonable place, the image will be blurry, but it will be contrasted, and you use a fine focus to focus the image. Please don't get oil on our air lenses again, and thanks for your attention.